Friday evenings at Danny's Tavern were always bustling. Neon signs buzzed softly against the timber walls. Behind the bar, glasses chinked in steady rhythm, while an old country song from the jukebox drowned out the low murmur of voices. This was the sort of establishment where men in uniform came to shed their formality, where police officers transformed into ordinary men nursing beers and resentments. Tucked away in the dim corner of a booth sat Daniel and David Thompson, positioned side by side. They were identical twins, 34 years of age, their frames suggesting restrained power. They seemed both at home and out of place simultaneously. The same tranquil eyes, the same composed bearing, the quietude of men who observed everything while divulging nothing. Their beers remained untouched before them, not from abstinence, but because they'd already assessed their surroundings, and those surroundings were assessing them in return. The entrance groaned open. 3 figures emerged into the hazy illumination, their boots striking heavily against the wooden planks. Officer Brett Coleman, imposing in height and build, swagger evident in his stance, commanded the group. Flanking him were Rick Torres, more reserved with keener eyes, and Jake Morrison, already reeking of whiskey, his gait unsteady yet dangerous in its volatility. The establishment quieted somewhat, as though the atmosphere itself had transformed. Brett's imposing figure cast a shadow over the booth. He pressed both palms firmly against the tabletop, leaning inward, his tone pitched low yet cutting enough to pierce through the country melody. "Evening, gentlemen. I suggest you relocate before circumstances become difficult." The brothers remained unmoved. No words passed between them. Daniel, typically the first to respond, raised his beer with casual ease, the golden liquid reflecting the neon glow. His tone emerged calm, controlled, nearly courteous. "Is there an issue, officer?" The comfort in his delivery immediately unsettled Rick. Most individuals grew tense around law enforcement, particularly men like Daniel and David. Yet these two remained composed, exceptionally composed. Brett grinned, interpreting their composure as vulnerability. "The issue is that this establishment isn't meant for your kind. Your presence here is unwelcome." David stirred at last, unhurried, tilting his face upward until his gaze met Brett's. A tranquil stare, disturbing in its peacefulness. His words held no waver, no urgency. Simply understated truth. "Our kind. We're merely here to enjoy a drink." Jake released a harsh, explosive laugh that startled a nearby couple by the jukebox. "You're missing the point. This territory belongs to us. Questionable characters don't get to settle in as though they're welcome." The strain expanded like vapor through the room. Dialogue ceased. Drinks remained suspended midair. 3 officers confronting 2 black men. Every patron in that establishment understood the familiar pattern. They'd witnessed it previously. Except this time, something felt off. Something in the twins' expressions contradicted the expected narrative of victims. Daniel's eyes shifted briefly toward his brother. A momentary glance. Wordless, yet loaded with shared history. The unspoken language of twins tempered through hardship. David's fingers grazed his wallet resting on the table. Measured. Intentional. He set it down flat like a gesture of offering, like a strategic gambit. "Here's a thought. Perhaps you should present your credentials first. Simply to confirm you're actually law enforcement." A wave of discomfort rippled through the establishment. Nobody had ever challenged Brett this way. Brett's expression hardened. His palm crashed against the table, causing the bottles to tremble. "Are you questioning my authority, boy?" Rick advanced closer, his voice subdued, weighted with warning. "Brett, abandon this. They're leaving." However, Jake, intoxicated and impulsive, thrust himself forward. His finger stabbed the air accusingly, his speech impaired yet saturated with hostility. "You believe this is a game? You're trespassing here, and we dictate the terms." Daniel stood gradually, his chair gliding backward with the weight of something inevitable. David mirrored him. Both movements synchronized as though they were one entity divided. No haste, no alarm, merely command. Daniel's voice dropped lower now, yet it penetrated the bar's silence. "We're not seeking conflict. We'll complete our beverages and depart." Brett shoved him forcefully, testing boundaries, applying pressure, attempting provocation. The jukebox transitioned to its next selection, but the sound went unnoticed. The establishment had fallen silent. Daniel refused to step back. Didn't even flinch. He merely inclined forward slightly, his words deliberate. "We'll take our leave. But this moment will stay with you." Brett released a derisive laugh. "Oh, really? What's your plan?" "Send me correspondence." David's expression remained frigid, unwavering, his tone almost sympathetic. "You genuinely don't comprehend who stands before you." They proceeded toward the exit, unhurried, posture squared, their precision of movement unsettling even Rick. This wasn't retreat. This was calculation. At the doorway, Daniel hesitated, rotating his head partially. His parting words emerged quiet, almost compassionate. "One final opportunity, officer. You can still emerge from this evening unblemished." Brett scoffed. "Or what?" Daniel's expression wasn't defiant. It wasn't prideful. It was patient, the expression of someone who'd already determined the conclusion. "Or nothing at all. Simply felt it fair to provide warning." The twins vanished into the darkness. Inside, the tavern released a collective breath, though unease remained suspended. Rick Torres massaged the back of his neck, an icy sensation settling into his core. He'd encountered men who bluffed previously, but these two weren't feigning. Within 15 minutes, the reality of that observation would etch itself into